Welcome back to our Wednesday Word. In Romans chapter 12, Paul writes and says, "Let love be without hypocrisy, by abhorring what is evil, clinging to what is good, being devoted to one another in brotherly love, giving preference to one another in honor, not lagging behind in diligence, being fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, persevering in affliction, being devoted in prayer, contributing to the needs of the saints, and pursuing hospitality." The Apostle Paul teaches us in the book of Romans that one of the marks of a believer is genuine love. And so how do we show that genuine love? What he says is we show that in one way by giving preference, or as the ESV would put it, by outdoing one another in showing honor. And so as a noun, honor means to esteem, to value, to show great respect and deference to. To honor someone is to value the person highly. And so to show preference in that honor, to outdo someone in showing honor, means to take the lead, in a sense, in honoring and showing honor with an eager heart. Regardless of one's title or one's position, we are commanded by Scripture to show that preference to one another, to outdo one another in the church. To outdo, in a sense, the person sitting next to you, whether that person's a family member, a coworker, a neighbor, a stranger, a fellow church member. That's part of what it means to be a believer, is to show honor towards one another. And at Fellowship Church, we are a community of true Christians, and if we are so, then we should demonstrate that kind of love, and therefore we should make it somewhat of a challenge for ourselves each week to outdo one another in showing honor, not in a competitive spirit, but in a way that we can better even relate to one another. Perhaps it's simply that we need to know someone better, not just their name, not just their occupation, but their interests. What is that person's strength? How can I honor them in that way? What are their gifts? What are their opinions about things? What are their struggles about things? So brothers and sisters, we can honor those that are around us better, I think, when we understand Christ's love for us as his people, and that every person in the church matters to the Lord. And that's part of what it means to become the true church that Christ calls his bride, in showing love to one another. And so one way that I would commend each and every one of us is that we hosted the Resolved Conference over this past weekend. And what a wonderful demonstration of love for one another by those who served and helped pull off the entire weekend of hosting, certainly Tom Pennington to preach, but also all the visitors, all the guests, and everyone from our church that attended. There was so much work put into not just the aesthetic things, but also in the care of wanting to provide snacks, coffee, the music and the musicians that were a part of the weekend, those that took care of all the different technical things that allowed us to show and broadcast the entire event, those that made Tom feel welcome, and those that greeted and talked to and showed hospitality to guests that came. It was a monumental thing to do out of love for one another, love for the brethren. And I'm so very thankful for each and every one of you that helped in that way. We're looking forward to doing it again next year, certainly. But even as we kind of recover and we kind of debrief, decompress from the weekend, I am just so thankful, and I hope you are as well, for those that helped and those who played a role in that and really embodied what Paul's instruction is here in being devoted to one another and brotherly love. And truly, none of this means anything if it is not done certainly to the glory of God, but also having in mind one another and giving preference to one another in honor, being devoted to one another in honor, clinging to what's good, like Paul says. And this is all part of this journey of faith, this journey of life that we have as a church together, where we're doing what Paul says later in Romans 12, not lagging behind in diligence, but we're being fervent in spirit. We're serving the Lord ultimately. We're rejoicing in hope. We're persevering in affliction, being devoted to prayer, contributing to the needs of the saints, and pursuing hospitality. So much of that was accomplished this past weekend, and so much of that is really what we seek to do each week, not just on Sunday, but throughout the week as a church for one another. And so challenge yourself to, as the ESV puts it, to even outdo one another in a sense, in honoring one another as we carry on this week.